Exactly what it was. I knew I loved the game. I knew I was passionate about it, and I wanted to do it at a high level.
Larry running out and the whole stadium's yelling, Larry, Larry.
Touchdown, Larry Legend.
He didn't run the fastest, he didn't jump the highest, but somehow, every defender who lined up across from him walked off the field looking confused, exhausted, and defeated. Because Larry Fitzgerald wasn't a wide receiver, he was a street baller trapped in an NFL body, and nobody, absolutely nobody, knew how to deal with him. Before the Pro Bowls, before the toe taps, before the legend.
We're talking about a full-on savage.
Larry was just a kid in Minnesota with a style that didn't fit any textbook. Coaches begged him to run real routes. He refused. He'd pause mid-release, hop step, shoulder fake, glide, hesitate. Moves you saw in pickup basketball, not on a football field. His footwork broke every rule, but it also broke every defender. When other receivers trained cone drills, Larry trained chaos. When others memorized timing patterns, he practiced adjusting mid-air, bending in ways DBs couldn't predict. That unpredictability became his superpower. Cornerbacks said he felt wrong to guard, as if he was playing a different sport. But the first real sign of the monster he'd become came long before the NFL scouts noticed him. It came the day he got kicked out of practice for embarrassing an entire defense. On accident. Larry Fitzgerald wasn't recruited. He wasn't even supposed to be on the field. He started out as a ball boy for the Minnesota Vikings. But instead of just handing towels and dragging bags, he studied Chris Carter's releases like film, copied Randy Moss's body control, and took notes on every trick, every hand movement, every head fake. He wasn't just watching greatness, he was downloading it.
You're gonna be presented with a lot of challenges, and it's up to you.
When the starters went home, Larry stayed. He'd recreate every catch he saw that day. Diving, twisting, toe tapping on the sideline chalk, using cones he stole from practice. Coaches began noticing something weird. This skinny ball boy could mirror Moss's fade route almost perfectly. He could mimic Chris Carter's toe taps so well that players joked he was the mini Carter. But nobody saw what was coming next. Larry didn't have elite speed at Pitt. He didn't have elite measurables. He didn't blow up the combine charts. What he had was timing that felt supernatural. Quarterbacks said throwing to him felt like cheating. He'd adjust mid-route, shield corners with his body, and snatch the ball with hands the size of catcher's mitts. He played football like a pickup game on asphalt. Awkward at first glance, impossible once you tried to guard it. And every week, that style made defenders look helpless. He stacked cornerbacks like dirty laundry. He racked up highlight catch after highlight catch. By his sophomore year, teams started doubling him at the snap. Didn't matter. He'd just bend his route into space like water finding cracks. He wasn't fast, but he was unstoppable, because when NFL scouts finally showed up to evaluate him, they realized something horrifying. You couldn't scout Larry Fitzgerald. You could only experience him. 2004 NFL Draft. The league is obsessed with speed, verticals, and combine heroes. Larry Fitzgerald wasn't any of that. He ran a 4.48. Good, not great. His vertical was average. His shuttle was boring. Scouts said, solid prospect. But one team saw something everyone else missed. The Arizona Cardinals looked past the stopwatch and saw a football artist.
Third choice in the 2004 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Larry Fitzgerald.
A receiver who didn't need to win the race, because he would win the moment. They took him at number 3 overall. People questioned it. They'd stop questioning very soon, because from the moment he stepped on an NFL field, defenders realized something horrifying. You couldn't read Larry Fitzgerald. He didn't move like a receiver. He moved like a problem. First training camp. Veteran corners line up across from him expecting easy reps. Fitz hesitates mid-release, shoulder fakes like a street baller, then glides outside and snatches the ball with one hand. The corner mutters, "What the hell was that?" Coaches rewind the clip 10 times. His footwork looks wrong, but the separation is perfect. His routes look messy, but he's always exactly where the quarterback needs him. This wasn't textbook. This was sorcery. Every practice, he got harder to defend. Every week, the gap between great athlete and great receiver widened, and he was living in that gap. By 2007, he was a full-blown terror. Not Tyreek speed, not Moss height, not Julio power. Something worse, unpredictability. Larry ran routes like he was playing on a driveway. Slow, fast, slow. Heavy, light, heavy. Never the same release twice. Corners studied hours of his tape. Didn't matter. He changed the rhythm every single snap. His hands? Glue. Traps. Vacuum-sealed miracles. Quarterbacks said throwing to him felt like tossing the ball into a black hole. Everything disappeared into his palms. And the wildest part? He rarely talked trash. He'd beat a defender for 40 yards, jog back calmly, and say, "Good rep, man." That quiet confidence made DBS furious, because you can't mentally break someone who refuses to fight back. But if you think regular season Fitzgerald was scary, you haven't met playoff Fitzgerald. The Cardinals weren't supposed to make a run. They barely clinched the division. Analysts said they were just happy to be here. Larry disagreed. Wild card, 142 yards, 1 touchdown. Divisional, 166 yards, dominance. NFC Championship versus the Eagles, his masterpiece. 3 touchdowns in the first half. He ran through Philly's defense like he was running through a warm-up jog. Every catch looked impossible. Contested, twisted, double covered. He didn't outrun anyone.
Covered by Demps, and Fitzgerald makes the play for the touchdown.
He outthought everyone. The Eagles put 2 men on him, then 3. It didn't matter. Commentators said, "This is one of the greatest playoff runs we've ever seen." DBs said, "We weren't guarding a receiver. We were guarding gravity." And then came the moment, the one that turned him into myth. Super Bowl 43, Cardinals down, Steelers loud, crossing route, ball snapped. Larry catches a slant, cuts across the field, hits the afterburner nobody believed he had, 70 yards, gone. Crowd erupts. His teammates lose their minds. Even the broadcast voice cracked. Larry Fitzgerald, like a rocket. It looked like the world was about to crown him champion. It wasn't over, but he had already stamped his greatness onto football history. Most receivers peak. They hit their prime, burn bright, then fade. Not Larry Fitzgerald. He didn't get slower. He just got smarter. He didn't lose athleticism. He replaced it with mastery. Cornerbacks half his age tried to guard him. They walked away shaking their heads, mumbling, "He's reading me faster than I'm reading him." Because Larry had a cheat code no coach could explain. He understood leverage and body control better than anyone alive. He'd box you out like a power forward. He'd glide into zones like a point guard navigating traffic. He'd toe-tap sideline catches like a ballerina on a tightrope. This wasn't football technique. This was art, and defenders were the unwilling canvas. Larry Fitzgerald didn't drop passes, not metaphorically, literally. He retired with one of the lowest drop rates in NFL history. Ball behind him, he caught it. Ball tipped midair, he caught it. Ball thrown into double coverage, he caught it. One DB said, guarding him felt like trying to stop a magnet from grabbing metal. His hands were freakish, giant, relentless. He practiced catching bricks as a kid and tennis balls in the dark as an adult. Chris Carter once said, Larry doesn't catch with technique, he catches with faith. By the time he entered his 30s, Larry Fitzgerald was no longer just a nightmare. He was a mentor, a standard, a blueprint. Rookies lined up after games to shake his hand. Veterans asked him for advice mid-season. Defensive legends spoke about him with almost religious respect. Troy Polamalu, one of the hardest hitters ever, once said, "You can't hate Larry, you can only suffer." Larry never celebrated in your face, never talked trash, never danced after touchdowns. He just jogged back to the huddle with that calm, unbothered look, as if humiliating you was simply good manners. His most jaw-dropping play? It wasn't a catch. It wasn't a touchdown. It was a block. 2015 playoffs. Cardinals running a reverse. Larry sees a defender coming free on the backside. He sprints.
With time, fires over the middle to Fitz. Caught at the 45, 50. Fitz is loose, 40, 30. Goodbye! Cardinals lead! Touchdown!
Full speed, old legs, veteran body, and demolishes the defender with a hit so clean and violent, it went viral instantly. The crowd screamed. His teammates lost their minds. That block summed up Larry Fitzgerald in one moment. Selfless, fearless, ageless, relentless. He didn't care about highlights. He cared about winning and protecting his brothers. He played 17 seasons. Same team, same number, same consistency. In a league that burns through wide receivers, he became football's version of a lighthouse. Steady, shining, impossible to ignore. He finished with 1,432 receptions, second all-time, 17,492 yards, second all-time, 121 touchdowns, countless broken coverages, broken angles, broken egos, and 0 scandals, 0 drama, 0 enemies, just respect. Everywhere he went. Larry Fitzgerald didn't dominate because he was the fastest or strongest.
Fitzgerald's the 100th touchdown of that spectacular career.
I hope he never.
He dominated because he was the most unpredictable, the most intelligent, and the most impossible to break. He played like a street baller in a league built on athletes. He humiliated defenders not with speed, but with soul, and every time the ball floated his way, you already knew the ending. He wasn't dropping it, he wasn't losing it, he wasn't being stopped, because defenders could prepare for everything except him. Larry Fitzgerald wasn't just a wide receiver, he was a problem the NFL never solved.